It is my only weapon. Wow. Think about that for a second. That's a pretty powerful statement, right? It tells you that for centuries, for so many people, storytelling wasn't just about entertainment. Nope, it was a tool for survival, a way to keep history alive, and a shield to protect your entire culture.
And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. We're going to follow this golden thread of oral tradition, one that's been woven through centuries of history, all the way from ancient Africa right up to the present day.
So here's our roadmap. We'll kick things off with the power of a story itself. Then we'll jump back to its ancient roots in West Africa and see how it became this crucial tool for survival. After that, we'll watch it transform into a powerful rhetoric of revolution. And finally, we'll bring it right into the present to see how this incredible tradition is still thriving.
All right, so first up, the power of a story. To really get this, we have to understand that history isn't just something you find in a dusty book. It's alive. It's in the things that are spoken, that are sung, that are passed down from one generation to the next.
I mean, think about it. Storytelling it's fundamental to who we are. It's what we do as people. You see the same kinds of themes, the same plots, the same characters in stories from literally all over the world. But while it's universal, the African-American oral tradition has this uniquely powerful history, forged in circumstances that made the spoken word absolutely vital.
So, to really understand that power, that resilience, we've got to go back, way back, all the way to its source in West Africa.
Okay, so this tradition actually has a name, Jalia. It's this incredible art of weaving the past right into the present using words and music. And when that storyteller at the very beginning called it her only weapon, this is what she was talking about. Jalia wasn't just some performance, it was power.
And right at the heart of this whole tradition is a figure called the griot. Now you got to get this. They weren't just an entertainer, not even close. They were the living, breathing archives of their communities.
Just think about that for a second. Before most people could read or write, the griot held everything. They knew the family trees, the village histories, all the great battles and triumphs. They were the community's memory, its moral compass, its cultural glue, making absolutely sure the wisdom of the ancestors was never, ever lost.
Which brings us to a huge question, right? How on earth did a tradition so tied to a specific community and place survive something as horrific as the Middle Passage and the brutality of slavery?
Well, it adapted. It had to. In a system that was literally designed to strip people of their identity, their language, their history, the oral tradition became this secret, almost sacred space. It was a lifeline, a way to hold on to pieces of a world that had been stolen, and a way to figure out how to navigate this new, brutal reality. And what this did was set up a battle of stories. On one side, you had what are called majoritarian stories, the narratives from the dominant culture used to justify the horrible status quo. But in response, enslaved people created these powerful counter-stories. And listen, these weren't just simple tales. They were acts of psychological survival. A spiritual might actually be a coded map to freedom. A story about Brer Rabbit? Yeah, it was funny, but it was also a masterclass in how the clever could outwit the powerful. These stories were a total lifeline, a way to create and hold on to your identity, to affirm your humanity in a world that was trying to erase it every single day.
So as time moves forward, these hidden traditions of storytelling, they don't stay hidden forever. They get honed, they get refined, and eventually they are brought right onto the national stage as this incredibly powerful force for change.
And the Black church, especially, becomes a total powerhouse. It's like a training ground where those rich oral traditions from Africa merge with new forms, forging these powerful rhetorical techniques that would, quite literally, go on to shake the nation.
One of the most electrifying techniques is something called call and response. This is not passive listening, okay? It's a dynamic conversation. The speaker and the audience are partners. The speaker throws out a call, the audience gives back a response, and together, bam, they create this shared energy, this deep sense of community and unity. It's powerful stuff.
Okay, another really powerful tool is the Jeremiad. It's got this brilliant three-part structure. Step 1, you remind the nation of its own promises, the ideals of freedom and equality in the Declaration of Independence. Step 2, you powerfully call out its failure to live up to those promises. And then step 3, you offer a vision of a better future, a prophecy of what the nation could be if it just changes its ways. It's basically a way of holding a mirror up to America and saying, hey, be true to what you said you were. And there is no better example of the Jeremiad in action than this. When Frederick Douglass gave this speech, he wasn't just pointing out hypocrisy. No, he was using America's most sacred holiday, its promise, to expose its greatest failure. It's an absolute masterclass in using a nation's own ideals as a tool for liberation.
And that brings us right up to today, because that golden thread we've been following, it didn't just stop. It's still weaving its way through our culture in ways you probably hear every single day.
I mean, you can draw a straight line through music. The call and response and storytelling in spirituals and work songs, that flows right into the personal stories of the blues. The improvisation and rhythm of the blues, that helps create jazz. And all of it, the lyrical storytelling, the rhythm, the social commentary, that's the bedrock of hip-hop. It's a direct lineage. And when you see that lineage, you have this really powerful realization. When you hear a rapper delivering sharp social commentary, telling the story of their community, you are hearing a modern-day griot. They're filling that same ancient role, historian for the unheard, voice of the community, social commentator. The tradition didn't just survive, it evolved. It's broadcasting those same functions to the entire world now.
But it's not just in music. This tradition is now being recognized as a seriously powerful educational tool. Educators are taking these ancient storytelling techniques and using them to create something called culturally relevant education, which empowers students by connecting what they're learning directly to their own history and culture.
And let me be clear, this isn't just some feel-good thing. This is about incredibly effective teaching. By weaving in themes like migration or folktales, teachers can directly hit core academic standards for things like analyzing themes and characters. It completely transforms the classroom. It makes learning rigorous, relevant, and a direct reflection of the student's own heritage.
Which brings us full circle, right back to where we started. From the griot's histories to a rapper's rhymes, this tradition has always been about one thing: whose stories get told and whose get silenced. So the question for all of us now is, in this world where we are just drowning in information, which voices are we actually choosing to listen to? Whose stories are we elevating? Because if this golden thread has shown us anything, it's that the stories we tell don't just reflect our world, they have the power to actually change it.